I thought I'd do something a little different today. I have a vid uploading, but I don't think I'm going to make it public. I took my pup out to, Mr. Bear to the park. Where is he? He's right there. And, yeah, just trying to get myself a little bit on the grounded side. But I thought it'd be a little fun to do something a little different. Grab this dusty box right here. I know that these are, yeah. So there's gonna be photos like in this first album. I sometimes like this first one I checked because I knew it was gonna be from before I was born. But some of these are from, yeah. There's at least 1, 2, 3, at least 5 here from Hawaii. And that was back when I was born, obviously. But, yeah. And I know what family members I have that watch this might actually enjoy some of this too. Yep, these are my... the way this light is up above, it sucks. There we go, maybe. Yes, no, maybe. Yep. Yeah, these were my brothers. My oldest brother, my middle brother. And I want to say, there's my dad. What's funny is I see there's a couple pictures in here that I don't ever really remember seeing, but yeah. There's my dad with my older brother John. I don't want to say anything about this one, what this is making me think right now. I'll just say the ironies and a lot of that. I feel like this was during like one of the family reunions or something. Because they would have family campouts. My dad. So yeah, a lot of this would be is definitely before my time. And I want to say, I could be wrong though, because he reminds me of my Uncle Wayne a little bit. There's my grandma, my mom's mom. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's my Uncle Wayne. But then there's my grandma with her sisters. And then there's my mom, which I hadn't seen that picture before, which is kind of funny. I was like, well, okay, there's my mom. Brother John. I can't remember which cousin that might be. But yep, some of these different ones I don't know. But yeah, there's my dad. But I believe this is out at Barton. And then this is my Aunt Lucy. This is when family was still, for most part, family. But, yeah. So after Grandma passed away, that's when, like, all the skeletons kind of, like, came out of the closet. Because Grandma wasn't there to pretty much call her kids out and tell them to knock their shit off, basically. And all hell broke loose. Let's grab this guy. Oh, hey, look at that. This is this was my birthday. Well, Mr. T birthday. It's funny. I actually remember that. Was this in Virginia when I got my This is Virginia. Yeah. This is what I remember this. This is when I got the Ewoks village and then the Rancor for my birthday. This is how my birthdays always were. It was just me. I had nobody there. And then I had my brothers, but yeah. Wow. I remember this birthday. This is crazy. My brother Joe ended up getting all that though. This was the apartment in Virginia. This is where upstairs. Now I can't remember this dog's name, but this is Cricket and then Buffy back here. We had that TV all the way up until we moved in here to Oregon City. I remember this. I remember this. I used to go for a lot of walks, even on my own, and all that stuff out there. Being on base for a kid was actually pretty safe. This is our backyard. I remember this backyard, and there's the pathway I would talk about that went between homes. It was like, yeah. There was this was the apartment that it was like a 2-bedroom apartment, and yeah. I love sleeping in beanbags. Yeah, I used to suck my fingers as a kid. My brother Joe was very much like a dad to me. Cricket. Wow. And they have puppies. And if I remember right, this one here, it's Patches. My mom. I just don't remember the name of this one, but this is Buffy. Wow. This is the dog that I was talking about that I saw as a child after, yeah. Because the neighbors to my grandma's house ended up poisoning her with rat poisoning. And then we ended up with another dog that looked just like her named Tuffy. Because that was, yeah, I was always close to dogs and animals. This has been my life. And you would never expect that it was not long later that some of the abuses started to begin. This, I believe, would be Italy right here. So way before I was born. My brother still had hair. Gosh. Yes, my brother used to get bullied a lot in school in Hawaii because of his blonde hair, blue eyes, and all that stuff, yeah. See, you would not expect that there, by these pictures, you wouldn't expect there to be, things happening within a family. But they did. Let's see here. Okay. Group photo from my dad. This is in Virginia there. That's where he is there. I love my dad. My dad was always a hard worker and there for the family. He dealt with his alcoholism and all that stuff, and that came out at times, but he wasn't one of those. I don't ever remember really him being an abusive alcoholic. It wasn't until all the shit really started going, and then mom would pull her shit, and then there'd be some arguing going on. But yeah. No, I'm making sure that when I go to move, I'll be taking some of this with. This is when Dad was in Germany. I didn't get to see a lot of the places my brother and them got to see. They got to see a lot of places. Once I was born and we moved back to mainland from Hawaii, never got to really see anything. We basically, yeah, wherever my folks were at was where I was at. Thankfully, my mom still remembers Italy with what's going on with her. Yeah. She get mad at my dad so much, going, you know, where's your ring? Where's your ring? Even with everything that's happened, like I've repeatedly said, I love my mom and dad. I mean, many of the things that I learned in life obviously was from my parents, but I also recognize a lot of the toxic traits that I picked up over the years is also from my parents, and not just other outside influences, and also not stuff that's been developed, whether either like from thinking something was okay and it wasn't, or, you know, that type of thing, or just stupid decisions. And a lot of which I had to learn from a young age. I didn't want to be going the rest of my life dealing with it, because I watched what my brother went through from his decisions. Oh gosh, yeah. This is going to be a mess. Yeah. Have to go to the football games there. I didn't, but oh, cool. At least I don't remember them. Kind of hard to flip these pages because I don't want to. Let's see here. Are these all going to be football? Not really. From the zoo there, I obviously don't have memory of this stuff. Get these put back in here. Some of these, I think, just need to be replaced into some new photo albums. So that way, yeah. We're going to go ahead and close that one up, because I don't want to damage any of these. Going through the ones I know that I would recognize, you know, through one in. Some of these are from when my dad was overseas. Obviously from before I was born. So let's see. This is my two nieces and their grandma. That's a good picture, actually. I don't remember ever seeing that one before. Yeah, these old photo albums. So these, I think, were people that my mom and them were friends with, maybe, because I don't recognize any of these people. So I'm going to no, don't need to see. I don't know who those people are, but there's one picture and I was like, no, I don't need to look at that one. Oh gosh. Here we go. Oh, my Uncle Tim and Aunt Michelle's wedding. Obviously, I was too young to. Gosh, it's crazy how much my cousin Matt and his dad look alike, almost like twins. I remember when my cousin Matt took his first steps walking at my grandma's house. Because my grandma used to take care of us, you know, while Mom was at work. My brother Joe cross-dressing. I don't know who that kid is. Uh-oh. Careful, it's me in a bathtub. Ugly kid alert. Wow. I gotta make sure I'm not dumping pictures everywhere. My mom and them loved torturing me with this clown. I hated this clown, and they would intentionally torture me with it. But then they'd give me my Gonzo, which I think my son has now, my younger son. And I would calm down, but this clown terrified me. I remember this clown for years. But yeah, my mom and them thought that stuff was funny. We're gonna terrify our kids. But let's get these slid back in here. Yeah, it totally needs to be I need to get all new photo albums, obviously, because I'm not gonna, in all honesty, I'm not leaving these behind. My folks know that really the only thing I want is at least this box of photo albums, because there's another box in the house that, yeah, see this shit? Oh, that's who that guy was. That guy was Al. This, I believe, was at Wildlife Safari. Yeah, Wildlife Safari. Yeah, Lucy and my cousin Sherry and cousin Jeannie. I actually like going to that zoo. I like that one better than the Portland Zoo, mainly because it's small and there's not a lot of people there. I actually have a lot of pictures from there. Well, not a lot, but I've got a few. I'm just trying to skip past some of this, because, yeah, I've got stuff falling out all over the place. My Aunt Sandy. She was always a pretty cool aunt. Yeah. 1981. 1980, 81. No, Hawaii. See, NF in the family. My brother had a tumor removed from his eye and all that. Developed in him young too. Eventually went to, yeah. Whoops. My brother John looked like Corey Feldman when he did the movie Lucas. Oh, hey. Newport. Go back another page just in case. Yep. It's when I caught my first fish. And I wasn't even trying. I just threw the line out there. And then proceeded to have my lunch or whatever. It's my Uncle Jim. My Uncle Vern. My Aunt Peggy. My cousin Dina. And I want to say that's my cousin Gary. All three of them have sadly already gone. Uncle Vern went from brain cancer. Aunt Peg, I want to say, yeah, she went from cancer, and so did Uncle Jim. They all went from cancer, whether it was brain cancer, and then, yeah. My mom with my brother and I, obviously. Let's put this back in here. Don't want that lost. If you notice, a lot of the pictures where I was concerned, I was alone. Color books, not. Always had these PJ things. Really? Oh wait, this is up in Astoria. That's right, the battery up in Astoria. There's the Astoria Bridge there. I had to think about it for a second. My Aunt Jane, and then there's myself. I was a bit of a goofball as a kid, but if I joked directly with my mom too much, I got my ass kicked. My dad. Pepper, I believe. Or, no, Gidget. That was one of my grandma's dogs. This is Seaside. That's where this is. Or not Sea. Was it Seaside? Not Seaside. I think it was Seaside, yeah. My Aunt Sharon. Ooh. There's my Grandma Wilma. Ooh, there we go. Just working on something, obviously. Trying to keep these pictures from falling about. But my cousin Sherry, and then my cousin Christine. And there's that one. Yeah, if they weren't falling out so much. I'm not going to show all of these. Like I said, some of these are from when my dad was in the service and overseas, and yeah. Those photos I definitely am keeping because, well, obvious reasons. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So this would be before my time also. Yeah, it's one of those, one of the other books, but this is from Italy. My dad was stationed there, and my mom and all got to live there. My mom used to make costumes too, and I'm looking at this and I realize she's got them dressed up like pretty much like a little blonde girl in a clown costume. I know. Yeah, it's telling me plenty now. My mom was doing it to him too. But yeah, this was Italy when Dad was stationed there and all that. Don't know who these people are. They were people Dad served with. So yep. And then we'll bust this one out because, yeah, So this was from, I believe, when we were up in Washington. Yeah, this was when we were up in Washington, up at Fort Lewis. And my brother was graduating from Lakes. It's crazy. We still have that picture. It's a printout of back when they could originally started to take pictures of you and was able to get them on a printer and print you out. And that was myself and my foster sister. And then my brother John when he graduated from Canby. It's funny, it's blue and orange for Lakes, blue and gold for Canby. My Aunt Sandy and my cousins DJ and Derek. I believe it was DJ. He didn't want Cocoa Puffs because he thought it was poop. Let's see here. Gosh, cousin Austin and Josh. My brother Joe. Yep, see, that tells you that he was a bit of like a dad to me. Whoops. Yep. What was I, like 11, 12 at the time? My old foster brother Steve. My cousin Gary. Joe with his wife. That's my older brother, and then my sister-in-law. Well, I'm also trying to be careful with some of them. With some of these. Wow. My cousin Dan. And then there's my cousin Mikey. I don't remember what year this is. I think this was like 3rd grade. See? I went from fairly skinny to a chubby kid. This was like 4th, 5th grade. This was, I believe, when my brother was in prison. Oh, look, I was a typical little 80s white kid with turtleneck. I feel like that's my cousin Connie. Almost don't recognize her without the hijab. And I'm not trying to be rude there at all, actually. My brother Joe with my niece. Yeah, obviously some of the names written don't match the people. Because these pictures have fell out a few times. My niece Danielle. Yeah, cousins. Yeah, it's... That's myself. My cousin Howie and Tammy, they had a band, the Avengers, back in the 80s and all that stuff, and then he ended up going on and had the band Plain Jane. Got to see the Easter Bunny. Here's Buffy. Yeah, we used to have family campouts a lot. Yeah, every year it's a family reunion, and it'd be campouts. See, and then there's my cousin Jake's birthday. Man, it was always loaded. Yep. My cousin Cindy. She was, yeah, so the serial killer from here in Oregon, yeah, he's still alive and all that stuff, and they almost tried to set him free a few times. That's why I'm trying to be careful with some of the pictures too. But This was my life. If you noticed, I was alone a lot. We have our family functions and stuff and all that, but yeah, birthdays. It was exactly that my whole life and all that. Just yeah. There's a lot of good memories. You know, I won't deny and lie about it. Yet what went on, you know, behind closed doors, it was not what people would suspect seeing family like that. And like I said, when my grandma passed away, the family fell apart. Like, it was done. My grandma was the backbone, that type of thing. And anytime, like, any of my aunts or uncles were, like, being a shithead, my grandma would have called them out on it. Sort of the same way I do when it comes to things. Because I watched my grandma do it before. She's even called my mom out on her shit a couple times right in front of me. And it was like... and so it's like... No, I miss my grandma a lot. I am gonna... I love my mom and dad. And as I've said, I don't know how many times I've said it, hundreds of times at this point. Regardless of what all's gone on in the past, I still love my parents. I still love my brothers, and I forgive all of them for the shit. It's just family what I see in those pictures was a family. I haven't had a family since I was 8, 9 years old. And that, in all honesty, that's all I've ever wanted in life, was to actually be a part of a family and actually feel like I was wanted around. And all that. Just... After that, all I had was, you know, my friends, their families. And then when I had my own family, just as quick as I had my own family, it was gone. And so it's like, at this point, it's like there's nothing left. This is all I've got left. And so I'm thankful for what I've got to live, and the good points of it. I'm not happy about the bad things that have happened, but I'm thankful that I learned a lot from it. And I definitely learned what family is and isn't. And I realized that was, excuse me, my family, you know, in essence, as a child, it vanished, you know, when I was like, with my grandma. And then ever since, that's all I've really wanted in life. And that's partly why I've struggled so much on knowing, really, on direction in life, because the one thing I've wanted in life was never really there. And so it took away from being able to focus on other aspects. And now that I'm at a certain point in life where it's like, you know, I have no, you know, it's not necessarily a no choice. It's not like I've never had a choice. It got to a point where it's like I realized that it's not going to happen, you know? So it's trying to accept that and recognizing I have to put my focus on other aspects of life, which, you know, obviously moving forward and, you know, saying goodbye, all that stuff, and putting focus on what I needed to focus on a long time ago that I sacrificed so that, in essence, my family could move on with their lives while I got left behind. To be there for my folks and then yeah. They were there for me as much as I was there for my parents, that type of thing when it comes to that. And the rest of these others, they only got to see one part of things, or little bits and pieces, or these little sections. And so, no, I hope you enjoyed that. This is definitely, yeah. Like I said, after 8, 9 years old, I didn't have a family much anymore. So that what I have a memory for family sits in this box. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this here. I hope you guys at least had fun seeing some of my family's memories and some of my own memories. Um, Definitely nostalgic, and that I know I'm using that word properly. Like I said, nostalgia means a painful memory. And yeah, it does hurt to look back on that because those are the memories I have of what I had for a family. And like I said, that ended by the time I was 8, 9 years old. So it's the life, right? It's just, all we can keep doing is keep going forward. It's why I just been kind of living by, by blind faith in essence. I don't live by sight when it comes to it because I recognize how fast things change and how quick things disappear. And yeah, and so I don't take it all for granted. And that's why it bothers me a lot of times with some of these situations that they bug me so much because I don't take it for granted. I take these types of things very serious. I take it all to heart. It's very, to me, it's very sacred to me because it's how important family is to me. Because I've never really had one. So